Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the channel. So today I am coming on with our regular collective reading. I do these collective readings every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So thank you for tuning in today. And I am very curious to know what's going to be coming up in this reading. I don't really have a clear picture yet of what that's going to be. So I'm going to shuffle some of the different card decks I have and let the messages kind of unravel themselves as we go along. Now, the first thing that I want to say, and I kind of alluded to this in yesterday's video, but we talked about how you may be feeling as though there is some kind of box of conventionality trying to call you back to it. And I didn't say this in this reading, I don't believe, but I really wanted to say that you've been following your intuition for a long time, whether you've fully consciously given yourself that credit or not, because the feeling that I get is that you are one of the rare few who truly lives intuitively. And this naturally causes your life to look very different from the people around you. It's not always an easy path being the one who is the generational curse breaker, who is the first in their family's line, who is creating new patterns, new operating systems, so to speak, from like a quantum perspective, new ways of doing things. And you are doing so much better than you sometimes give yourself credit for. That's the very first thing that I wanted to say. But also we have the card here, the Three of Swords in the reverse position. This is about some kind of healing taking place. And I'm hearing healing taking place through acceptance or surrender. And I feel that I'm channeling into someone where I'm hearing accepting what is. Accepting what is brings healing. So for the person I'm picking up on here, there is some kind of situation in your life that I feel you've been fighting on some level. But when I say you've been fighting it, what I actually mean is I feel you've been fighting what your intuition knows or where your intuition is leading you here. But as I said earlier, you've already been following that intuition for a long time. I'm hearing you can't go back. Maybe that's literal, back to a certain person, a certain place, or maybe it's more symbolic that you can't go back to a smaller version of yourself that connected with certain people or things in a certain way from your past. You know that you can't go back into shrinking yourself or diluting yourself. Whatever way this is applying for you, I feel your intuition has become so strong that I'm hearing whenever you do even try to go back for a moment or temporarily, your intuition naturally breaks you back out of that box. And I feel you've had this experience. I'm laughing because I feel we can all relate to having those times where we say, you know what, I know my intuition's kind of pushing me this way, but I feel more comfortable in that place or with that person or in that cycle. And we try to kind of fit ourselves back into it, and it literally doesn't work. Our intuition quite literally forces us back out of that situation and back onto our most aligned pathway. I'm just getting this message of like, at this point, you wouldn't even be able to ignore your own intuition if you tried. It wouldn't be possible because you're on this kind of set track, meaning you've become so accustomed to what it's like to live in the energy of freedom, to live in love, to live in this energy of abundance, to be following your intuition, to be in that flow state. And you've experienced the power and exhilaration of that. So I just get this sense of quite literally no longer being able to go back to shrink yourself in any kind of way just for the sake of retrieving some kind of artificial sense of control. Now, on that note, I do feel that at times this is difficult because you literally are on the forefront of massive collective changes taking place. You are one of the first ones out, so to speak. So you tend to go through things and experience things long before other people catch up and are able to understand them. So this can be a lonely path at times. But another message that came through when I was journaling today is you are not alone. There are many others like you all over the world. It's just that they are scattered around the planet for the purpose of uplifting and shifting very specific parts of the Earth's grid and the collective consciousness worldwide. So I want to take a look at your romantic life because there's been a lot going on with romance and timeline shifting in your life. What I've been getting very strongly is you've been moving through a lot of different timelines. Some of these have been you visiting other timelines. I'm hearing timeline visitations that you don't typically visit or typically connect with. And on some of these timeline visitations, I feel you've encountered or met certain people who were ready to meet you on some level, but also couldn't sustain a connection with you long term or can't do that yet. And so I don't know who I'm speaking to there, but I feel that maybe connecting with someone. Now, if it's not relating romantically, this could be speaking to other forms of connections, friendships, that kind of thing in your life as well. There's a lot happening here subconsciously and telepathically. So with the Moon card, I feel as though, and I guess this doesn't have to just be romantic, although I know a lot of you will apply this in love and romance. But what I'm getting here is there's this energy of your subconscious being very active. A lot of people subconsciously, telepathically communicating with you, sending you energy. It feels like a lot of back and forth energy happening telepathically. I'm getting Pisces energy here as well. So yeah, I'm hearing there's a lot more happening in the quantum realm and subconsciously for you than there is physically at the moment for someone listening. When it comes to romance, almost like things in the physical feel almost as though you're in some sort of void or things are on a pause, but subconsciously there's all of this activity. There are people pulling on your energy, trying to connect with you, maybe even coming through to you in dreams. Oh, I'm hearing this one person hasn't let you go, even though by all appearances, you would have thought they had forgotten about you. I don't know who this is for you, but there's someone coming through here who I'm getting so many goosebumps around this. That's always my spiritual sign of confirmation. By the way, if you do hear me sipping in the background, I just have plain water today. I know that sometimes I have something more interesting that I'm drinking, like a coffee or a seltzer water or something, but today it's just water. So I'm going to take a sip of that now. Okay, so yeah, what I'm getting is, there's a lot going on here. We are going to have to dive into many different threads of energy when we're talking about the love life of our collective. Now, of course, this can be a pick and choose kind of thing where some of you will connect with some of these energies and not others. I'm just getting a lot of different energies. Okay, lots of messages, so many coming through. So let's just start here. The first thing I'm getting is certain karmic loops from your past are closing. Certain doors are closing. And I'm hearing you're going to feel it when the loop closes. And some of these loops have been left open for a while. And you, on your end, have been continuously healing, growing, evolving. And in some cases, I feel like you were kind of holding out for these other individuals, thinking, well, maybe they will evolve with me, or maybe this situation will grow and change with me. But you weren't chasing them. You weren't pursuing them. You were refusing to lower yourself in order to connect with them. But I feel that the karmic loops that are closing themselves are the ones who seem to continuously be refusing deeper, authentic connection with you. And at some point, it felt as though you had nothing left to really give to those connections because your soul has been craving authenticity in your relationships, especially in your love life, but in all forms of relationships, because you offer authenticity to others. And I feel as though there have been certain people that for a while you carried the load of those connections, but at some point you decided to just drop that weight and to refocus on yourself and to say, I am going to evolve in all of the ways that I can, and I'm just going to surrender. And yes, I would like this person to evolve with me. I hope that this connection can stay with me, but if it doesn't, I will allow the loop to close. And I feel some of those kinds of karmic loops have closed for you right now in the past. The strange sense I get is it's almost bringing out in you a blend of like, on the one hand, I feel there is some apathy because you kind of knew for a while that these loops were going to close. In some cases, it may have felt like the door was just barely cracked open with that person, or you tried continuously to go deeper with them or to create more of a genuine, authentic connection and to let them kind of grow with you without needing to slam the door shut. But I feel something happened continuously. I'm hearing lack of care. So for some of you, some of these karmic loops closing, someone showed you a lack of care over and over and over again. And ultimately, you consistently loving yourself so profoundly radiated a kind of powerful energy that just didn't have any room for those kinds of bonds, the ones that were not showing you the kind of love and care that you've learned to give yourself. I'm hearing many of those connections were riding on momentum, meaning you'd already changed and kind of evolved beyond them. And when I say that, I mean you'd evolved into a version of yourself who loved yourself more than that person loved you, or more than they showed their love for you. Because of course, there can be a difference between the love someone feels for you and what they show you physically. But I feel another reason that's coming up here is because you are at this stage in your life, in your spiritual evolution, where it's not just about being able to psychically intuit how much someone loves you. It's about what they're doing about it, how they're showing it, how they're supporting you, how they're showing up for you in your real-time life. And I'm picking up on karmic loops, karmic bonds with certain individuals. I'm not saying the entire connection had to be karmic, but there were some karmic loops involved that you expanded out of. And it's almost like this person was not catching up to that evolution. They were still refusing to show you the level of care and attention and love that your evolved energy, the evolved version of yourself, was calling forth from them, really like demanding out of them, not in any kind of an aggressive way, but demanding in the sense that that's all you were really holding space for, that level of care, that level of commitment. And anything short of that was going to cause this door to close, at least for the time being. Not to say that anything's ever permanent, but I feel some of these karmic loops have closed and you felt it. The feeling I get is like you may have felt it instantaneously. I'm hearing your subconscious picked up on it instantly, going back to the fact that your subconscious seems to be so active right now when it comes to many different connections in your life. But I'm hearing you felt it the instant it happened. And I don't know exactly what that means for you, but I feel that for some of you, the moment that this door really fully energetically closed, you felt something. Now, for some of you, you may have like actually started crying or felt sad out of nowhere. And almost like you were releasing or processing that loop having closed or completed itself. It wasn't like the kind of sadness that keeps you stuck, though. It was the kind that happens when you're finally letting go or finally healing. For others of you, you may have actually had an opposite reaction. So you suddenly may have felt more confident, more powerful, more relaxed, like almost as though you were finally breathing again or exhaling. This could be a sign that your energy, your subconscious was realizing that this karmic loop had fully been closed, that door, which had been cracked open for a while, which, by the way, as a little side note, I feel that when that door was cracked open, it was kind of pulling on your energy a little bit. It was draining you a little bit. And so even if there was that wave of sadness when this door shut, you most likely also sense that bit of your power you were leaking through that crack in the door with this person has returned back to you. And I'm hearing they may have done something to close that door that your subconscious picked up on. Maybe, for example, if this was a romantic person that you'd mostly let go of, maybe they did something on their end to fully shut the door the rest of the way. But I'm hearing the door was shut quietly. I feel it wasn't really slammed shut. I'm getting the sense it was kind of cracked open for a while and then just gently closed. And most likely it was the other person that chose to close that door because they had been consistently unwilling to evolve to your level, to show you the kind of care that you were requiring out of them. And you loved yourself enough to allow them to close that door, because I also feel you could have stopped them from closing it, but you loved yourself enough not to do that, because stopping them from closing that door would have been you saying, wait a second, you don't have to give me the kind of love and the kind of support and the kind of care that I have risen to needing and requiring, that I have learned to give to myself. I'll make an exception for you. I'll lower my standards for you. I'll lower the bar of connection just for you. But you chose not to give into that temptation. You chose not to do that. And I don't feel like this was in every case necessarily an easy choice, because there seemed to be something about this person or connection, or for some of you, this could be multiple people, friendships, etc., that held promise, but that also required you to compromise on something that you weren't willing to compromise on because of how much you've learned to love yourself. I just keep coming back to that point, that this person closed that loop with you because you loved yourself too much to lower your standards for them anymore. That's what I'm getting the most strongly here. So that's the first dynamic I'm picking up on, which I feel may have brought up a lot of subconscious emotions. Again, there could have been sudden feelings of sadness or grief, or the opposite, sudden feelings of lightness or greater empowerment. But let's move on to the next dynamic I'm picking up on here, affecting your subconscious, specifically in love. And this is someone trying to manifest you or manifest a deeper connection with you. This energy feels really light. It feels very open. It feels energizing, passionate. I really like this energy a lot. There's like this freshness to it that tells me that this could very well be someone new in your life. This could be someone you've been crossing paths with, someone who's recently become aware of you, something of that nature. Or, of course, it could be someone from your past, but in a very new energy. I'm just getting that for many of you, this is actually a new person coming up here. There is Virgo energy here. Okay, so there's something about fate, the word fate, like this person feels like fate brought you into their orbit or brought the two of you together, or they're hoping fate brings you together. We have, I long for your kiss. Why do I feel this way? Yeah, this person definitely thinks about you in a physical sense as well. If this is romantic, they imagine what it would be like to be with you romantically and physically. It is dark without you. This is someone who's encountered your energy enough that they've noticed a contrast. So whether this is someone you've met recently who's like noticed you in a room, I'm hearing they notice how you affect a room, or they notice the contrast between the light that you bring to a space or to their life, or like something about being around you, being in your presence, it brings a kind of light energy that I feel they are really, it's feeling gradual here. Like they've gradually noticed the difference in the energy when you're in the room or the space or present with them and when you're not. And that is making them long for you, because they're noticing that when your light isn't present, things feel more dull to them. I do feel that this is someone with painful memories of their own past coming up here, and somehow having connected with your light. I'm hearing even just touching your light at a distance. For some of you, this may be someone that you've not even necessarily interacted with to a great degree. This could be someone who's just encountered you or spoken with you briefly, or someone that you met recently. But it didn't take much. I mean, it makes sense it wouldn't take much, because your light is very powerful. And I feel that you've already shown your light on parts of them and parts of their past that somehow have been triggered. And so if this person is pacing this connection or seems slow to move forward, it's because they have felt painful memories from their past being triggered somehow just by being around your light. That's what I'm getting here. I am afraid that I've lost you forever. Yeah, so this is someone who, I mean, if it's someone from your past, they were afraid in the past, or I should say, in the past, they felt like they lost you and they're terrified of losing you again or losing you forever this time. And that's very heavily on this person's mind. If this is someone more recent, then maybe they're afraid that they did something that pushed you away in some sense. Or, I mean, for some of them, I have to say, if this is a really new person and you've not interacted much with them, this is past life energy where their soul subconsciously remembers having lost you in a past life. And at that time, they thought they lost you forever. And it's almost like being in your vicinity, in your orbit, has resurfaced those subconscious memories. Maybe not fully. I don't feel like they're necessarily consciously aware of their past lives with you, but it's like they're starting to consciously feel these emotions because of what happened between the two of you in a past life where they thought they'd lost you forever. And now it's like they found you again. And I'm hearing I'm afraid of breaking it. Like, I don't want to break this connection, or I don't want to break your heart. Like, they're very careful about how they are approaching all of this here. But it's because they understand on some level, even if it's subconscious, the gravity of what's happening here, of what the two of you share. We also have the card, I'm on my way to you. So if this is someone who has been seemingly a bit distant, again, I get the sense they've been slow because they've been respectful, deeply, I mean, respectful doesn't even cover it. It's deeply reverent of this connection with you. They hold the deepest reverence for this. They understand on some level that it is sacred. And so, yeah, I have been working on myself. They're moving slowly, not because they're not interested. It's more so the opposite. They are so invested emotionally already that they don't want to mess this up. That's what I'm getting here very strongly. I'm hearing this person's been making their way to you for a while. So if it's someone from your past in this life, obviously that makes sense in a literal sense. But if this is someone that you've just met, I feel like their soul has been making its way to you. And almost like everything they've gone through so far in this lifetime has been them trying to find you or trying to make their way or feel their way to you in this life. And I do feel this is, if this is someone you've met recently especially, this is someone with a painful past, a dark past of some kind where they felt a sense of betrayal is what I'm getting here. This could have been from a past romantic situation. With the Devil card reversed, I feel that they had to free themselves from something really heavy, whether it's an addiction, a pattern of behavior, a negative relationship. And this is something that they're still in the process of healing from. I'm hearing the thing itself is gone, like it's out of their life. Again, whether it's like a person, a toxic relationship, a bad habit, an addiction, whatever this is, I feel that the thing itself is out of their life, but they're still dealing with the fallout emotionally. They are still healing from whatever this is. I do get the sense with the King of Pentacles that we could have fire sign energy here for someone, but this is someone who is trying to become a better person, to invest in themselves. There are things in their past that they are not proud of, and their deepest fear is that no one would be able to love them in spite of their past. The thing is, I feel that in your presence, this is someone who has felt that unconditional love. They felt that you are someone who holds love without judgment, someone who sees them not for their past, not for their mistakes, but for their energy, for all that they are. And to be quite honest, there's something about being seen that clearly that also terrifies this person. It's like looking in a mirror for the very first time is what I'm getting from them. And they may have had to pull back a bit after you gave them some kind of clear reflection of themselves, is what I'm hearing. I feel as though you mirrored something back to them that they had never had mirrored to them so clearly before. And it made them feel so seen, but also somewhat terrified at the same time. I'm getting a lyric from a song that I recently wrote because for those of you who don't know, I am a songwriter and I've been releasing channeled music under my artist name, Songs by Infinity, which I would love for you to follow me on Spotify if you do want to listen to my music. But my most recent song release was called The Light in Your Room. And there are some lines from that song that I'm really feeling, specifically the line, "You said you'd never felt so seen. You're dancing on the edges. I'm falling all the way in. No other man could get me alone, but you would never know, 'cause I'm made of time for you. I'm the light in your room." And what I'm getting from those lines, which by the way, you can listen to the full song on Spotify. I'll leave the link in the description box and the pinned comment as well under this video if you want to follow my Spotify. But what I'm getting from this person is that they have never felt as seen by anyone as they felt by you, especially in some kind of moment where you mirrored back to them something about themselves with, I'm hearing with clarity, but also with love that no one had ever mirrored to them. I'm also getting that somehow they felt called out by this, but it also enticed them further. I feel that whatever you mirrored back to them, whether you did this just by being present with them, there's something about your eyes that keep coming up here, like you looking directly into their eye as well. They were sharing something or opening up, or there's something about your eyes that made them feel seen or made them feel called out in some kind of way. And it felt so, it was like being held completely, but also it was uncomfortable because this is someone who has never been confident that any person could see all of these, what they consider to be broken parts of themselves and love them regardless. And when they felt that kind of energy from you, even if it was just in a look or a glance or a conversation, it caused them to retreat back to kind of process that mirroring that had just taken place. And I'm hearing, don't take the processing for rejection. If this person does pull back to process, don't push them. Don't attempt to try to be the one to reach out to them or to push things forward. Just give them the space to process this, because you might be surprised what comes on the other side of that processing. It's up to them what they do with that energy of being so seen that they felt from you. But I feel that you may be surprised by how things move forward with this person, because they do seem to have this resolve within them to want to be, quote unquote, a better person in their words. Now, I do feel more coming through here. This, again, when I channel different threads of energy, it could connect with the same physical person in different energetic states of being or different headspaces. It also could be entirely different people in your life, or some of these may not relate to you personally. They may be for someone else. But I feel there's someone else here trying to manifest you. This person seems to keep getting interrupted because I feel like I start to channel into them and then someone else pops up in the reading. So this seems to be a very shy energy. This isn't someone who would push their way to the front of your life or who would be pushy with you in any kind of way. There's a little bit of nervousness here. With the Ten of Swords in the reverse position, I do feel that this person is recovering from something. I do feel there may have been some kind of inner child wounding here as well with the Six of Cups, or something to do with their family or childhood that they were healing from. And the King of Pentacles, again, yeah, for some of you, maybe this is the same person because we did pull this card before, but this is someone, you know what? I think what's becoming clear to me is when someone starts to work on themselves and commit themselves to a path of betterment, it's truly uncanny how the universe connects them with you. You are probably noticing this pattern where you're meeting or connecting with people and you start talking with them and all of a sudden they're telling you, yeah, like, you know, a few weeks ago or months or years ago, my life totally took a turn. It changed. I had a wake-up call. And ever since then, I've been trying to better myself. Or you might meet people when they're right at the beginning of like, maybe they just like quit their job to start their dream business, or they just made some major life change, or they're going through something major. I just feel like you often meet people who are in those in-between phases where they've just like let go of something, gone through a breakup, like gone through a divorce, gone through something major in their life, or are totally changing their life. And then it's almost like they ask the universe or God, like they pray for support, for help, and then boom, you come into their life. Almost like an answer to that prayer, but one that they're not always ready to receive. I'm just getting that this is a pattern that you might be noticing showing up in your life. But anyway, with this person, I do feel that they're a little bit overwhelmed right now. With the Death card here as well, I just strongly feel that there's been some major transition happening in this person's life. They've very much felt kind of like they're in a sort of void space here, very lonely energy. This is definitely a loner with the Hermit card. This may be someone who has very few friends or who maybe even feels like they have no friends at all. This is someone who spends a lot of time alone. But with the Ten of Pentacles, I do feel, first of all, I heard old soul. This is someone who's definitely an old soul. And I want to know how they perceive you. You know what? Let's pull some oracle cards because I feel we've talked a lot about how this person perceives themselves. How do they perceive you? People don't believe in me. Okay, so they're worried that you would be another person who you deserve better. Yeah, this person, the reason that when I try to channel into how they feel about you, we get a lot about how they feel about themselves is because that's exactly what's playing into why they're so nervous to approach you or to deepen a connection with you. It's because they're doubting their own worth. They feel like, I feel many people around them doubt them, don't believe in them, heavily criticize them. This could even be what happened with parental figures with them growing up. But I feel that they have this low opinion of themselves. They feel like you deserve better than them. And so, but I'm hearing they can't help but watch as they keep their distance, whether that's literal, like you're in the same space and they distance themselves, but then are very aware of you, or maybe you even make eye contact or they look at you or try not to look at you, but they end up doing it anyway. Whether it's literal or it's metaphoric, like they try not to communicate or reach out, but they focus on you heavily emotionally and energetically. I feel as though this is very much a slow burn energy. This is someone who, from your end, you may have become aware of this dynamic between the two of you and felt kind of intrigued by it or attracted to it, but you may have tried to shake it off because you weren't really sure how this person felt, because they do seem to give off a lot of confusing signals by like being so focused on you, but also keeping their distance, which again goes back to that worthiness issue. I feel like this person has been trying to hold you at a distance because they feel like they need to work on themselves. They don't feel like they're good enough for you. But with these feelings are eating me alive, they also feel a lot of emotion towards you. It's almost like neither of you can fully shake off this dynamic or this kind of energy flow happening, this energetic dance taking place between the two of you. And really from a cosmic perspective, I feel it's because you aren't really meant to be shaking this off. I do feel that there's some form of unfinished business here between the two of you. I do feel like there's been something very distracting about this bond. I mean, maybe you feel distracted often by this person's energy, or like their energy comes in and kind of derails your day or your emotions. And that's because of how heavily fixated they are on you emotionally and energetically, even if they are keeping a distance physically. So, wow. Okay. A lot has been coming out in this reading, and I am going to continue this to the extended version of the reading. So we are just going to keep diving into all of these dynamics, turning pages here, unfolding the kinds of energies coming up and seeing what wants to come through. So if you want to join me for the extended, then the link to that is going to be in the pinned comment and description box under the video. But otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and close things out here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Of course, if you do resonate with anything here, I would love to hear from you in the comments. And yeah, if you haven't yet subscribed and you like the energy of this channel, then I would love to have you here as a subscriber and part of our community that we are virtually co-creating on YouTube. And I'm going to end the video here, but I am wishing you a beautiful day and start to your week. And I will connect with you here again in the next